welcome back. We are at Nick's other emporium of oddities and miscellaneous things, and the Raptor is currently on a lift. So, the name of the game today is suspension. We're doing a complete suspension upgrade for the Raptor. Well, not complete. The shocks remain stock, but we are changing out the springs in the front to Geiser from OEM. And then in the back, we're moving up from the stock leaf springs to Icon springs. And then we're adding in a new SVC bump stop kit as well, which is the adjustable bump stop kit. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because after my time in my adventures for 6 weeks off, doing some off-road and traveling, I noticed that the stock suspension was fine, but I thought, I'm going to do a lot more of this. I better beef up my suspension so I don't hurt the truck and make it as good as I possibly can. So what we're going to do today, it's a little different. I'm going to attempt to give you a little bit of a idea of what it takes to do a suspension upgrade like this on your own, and give you an idea whether or not you want to undertake that on your own. By no means is this supposed to be a complete how-to. We'll do our best, but I highly recommend looking at the factory and manufacturer suggested installation for any kind of upgrade you do, and seek professional help from a professional installation service provider if you have the means to do that. I have Nick here with me, who's a professional mechanic, and that's my fortune and boon to have him help me with this setup. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and we're gonna get a look at what it takes to upgrade the suspension on the Raptor.
So this is the Icon multi-rate spring system. You get an additional leaf with the leaf packs to change your spring rate. And the instructions are slightly confusing, so here's what's going on. Once you unbolt your two carriers and unbolt the two mains, by the way, careful, these are under tension, you will have a series of springs. The spring you're actually replacing or adding to is this guy right here. The first one that's not part of this big assembly. So this stock, like it is right here, is the lowest setting. This, if we remove this guy and replace him with his replacement, this would be medium. And extra heavy duty would be to add back in the other spring right like that. Hopefully that helps some of you guys out there figure out quite what they're talking about with variable spring rate.
Nice. Okay, what you just watched was the installation process of my suspension. And it's been a few months since I shot that footage. That was shot in October, and it's now March, so a lot of time has elapsed. But the benefit to all that footage hanging out on my hard drive for a while and not in a vlog is that I've driven the truck now, so I can talk to all those upgrades and tell you how I like them. So to recap, I have, and basically I realized that I didn't do a closing when I was editing this footage, and I thought, I should go do a closing on this. So we've got the Icon leaps in the back, we've got the Progressive Geiser Offroad springs up front, and then we have the SVC bump stop kit in the back as well. So we'll talk price real quick just to get that out of the way, because I know a lot of people are probably curious about how much a setup like that costs. So I spent between $3,000 and like $3,400 on all of the stuff, and I'm not sponsored. I don't have anybody giving me anything free. I just did it because I wanted to have a better off-road experience. Now I have Nick, who's an AFC certified mechanic, and he helps me with my Raptor mods. So I've known him since high school. He's a good friend. And so I didn't pay a big shop, big labor fees to do that. So if you go do this on your own, you're going to go look for a shop to install it for you. You might be paying more than I did if you're going to do it that way. Who knows what their labor rates are? It could be $90, $120 an hour. But keep that in mind. If you do it yourself, make sure you know what you're doing. It is definitely a good idea to have a professional help you if you're totally not experienced. Especially with the front, because you have to really get those front springs under tension in order to get them onto the shock, and that's very dangerous. So caution on that. Now, as far as the performance goes, the what I've gained out of this basically. So first of all, my ride height's a little higher. I'm at about 2.25, 2.5 inches, give or take, in the front and rear from stock, and also the ride is a little stiffer, right? So, but not bad. Let's talk about the stock Raptor suspension. When you're driving the stock Raptor, if you're taking a corner or whatnot, it can feel kind of boaty, like you're on a yacht in the ocean sometimes. This upgrade now makes it a lot stiffer and a little bit more precise, I would say, when you're taking a turn, when you're moving. It's not, to me, it doesn't affect my daily use of it. I still think it's fine. Some people might not like that. They might feel it's a little bit too stiff for daily driving. But what it does do is enhance your off-road experience tremendously. So I feel way more confident off-road. So the back end is now up higher. So even with loaded down with all my gear, I'm not sagging like I was on stock springs in the rear. So it maintains that height. And then, by the way, I'm set to level 2 on the Icon springs. You can actually set these at 1, which is like 1 inch above factory, and then level 2, and then level 3, and it goes to like 2 1/4, 2 1/2, and then 3 inches above. We decided to start it with this middle, thinking we might go to the third, but we haven't had to put the third on yet. It runs pretty good on the second level. This up front, we have the progressive springs. That gives me about a 2 1/2 inch lift up front, and it prevents me from bottoming out the truck over, like, maybe I'm going over some large whoops or large bumps or whatnot, or inadvertently jumping it when you're going fast, and maybe hitting something a little harder than you expect. So that is very cool to have, because you don't have to worry about having that front end scrape or bottom out on the whatever terrain you're in. And then those SVC bump stop are super great in that I can adjust them. They're adjustable bump stop kits. A lot of bump stop kits are static, but the adjustable ones allow me to set them at a certain ride height if I want to have more stability when I'm maybe going pre-runner style fast in the desert or off-road trails pretty quickly. I can set them kind of a medium or lower pace so that they're going to prevent that axle from coming in contact with the frame of the truck. Or if I wanted to get more articulation and from the suspension, like if I'm like climbing a mountain or doing something more technical, I can raise them so that I have more space in between. So that's really cool. So I put this to the test a few times. The big one was going to the Mojave, which is coming to a vlog near you, and that was a lot of fun. Really was able to put the truck through more than I would have in stock. So I was just more confident and capable all around off-road. So that is what the suspension has done for me. I'm going to leave you with some cool footage from the Mojave coming to a vlog near you. And if you like the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.